Hi friends, welcome to my channel, Aunt Yvonne Knits. My name is Yvonne and I am a knitter in Eastern Pennsylvania in the United States. I have been knitting for about 3 years now. That's hard to believe. It's gone very fast. I started knitting in 2021 at the end of February, beginning of March. I just picked it up because I think my brain needed something to do. I was a year out of my PhD, was working, and I think I just needed to learn something new that was going to keep my brain busy. So here we are. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of finished objects I have, a couple of works in progress, an old knit that I just modified, and it was my birthday recently also, so I got some yarn and some goodies from my family that I'm going to share with you as well. So welcome, settle in, and let's get chatting. So the first thing I want to talk about is what I'm wearing. So I talked about this in the other two episodes. I love her so much. This is the Anna T by Sara Stark. This is the printed out front page of the pattern. And I did the large size for, I think the bust circumference, the finished bust circumference was 43 inches. And I used, this is a discontinued yarn, but it's Julie Hoover and Shibui Knits, the Pebble in the color Vintage Rose. What I really like about this is it's such a beautiful yarn. It is 48% recycled silk, and that recycled makes me happy because I'm not overly enamored with the way silk is produced. So the fact that we're reusing silk that already exists in the world makes me happy. And then 36% fine merino and 16% cashmere. Oh, it's lovely. I love it. I love the way this drapes and everything. Oh, but obviously you can see it is not just this. I also got a cone from Webs, and I believe this is Valley Yarns. It's a mixture of merino and nylon, I believe. But as you can see, it's very thin yarn, and then the Shibui Knits Julie Hoover, the Pebble yarn, is relatively thin as well, and I wasn't enjoying working with this alone. The Webs yarn to hold with it, and we get this marled effect. I'm gonna try to take a picture of me earlier so you can see, because if I stand so okay, so yeah, so this the Anna T by Sara Stark, highly recommend. I love these shoulders. I'm not sure if they're called saddle shoulders or contiguous shoulders. I really enjoyed the construction of this. I like the way this sits on my body. I like the depth of the armholes. I feel like it's just perfect. So highly recommend Anna T. Finished object. But then I also have a pair of flip top mitts that, oh, I need to cut off that little tail. Flip top mitts that I made for one of my children. They wanted to have their fingers free when they drive. I wanted to have their fingers warm when they drive. So we agreed on doing these flip top mitts. And what I did to make I know there are tons of patterns out there, but I didn't want to have to purchase a pattern I didn't have, because my goal for 2024 is to reduce my spending on this hobby that I have, because I have so many things. There's little need for me to spend lots of money. I have tons of patterns and tons of yarn, so I'm trying to make use of what I have. But so these are a mix of the World's Simplest Mitt pattern by Tin Can Knits, which I'm sure all of you know, and if you don't, I highly recommend. But of course, that is a full fingered mitt, right? And so then what I did I just went down a needle size for the ribbing at the top, stopped where it was around the area where they wanted it on their fingers. Their hands are much longer than mine, and but anyway, and then I went to let me look at my notes real fast to make sure I get this right. Yes, it was a free pattern by Lion brand. It's called the Heartland Flip Top Mitts, and what I did is I used that for attach the flip top part, and then for the numbers for the flip top. And then the kids said that they were okay having their thumb open. They would rather have their thumb open than closed. So that's what we did. And these are so soft and warm and comfy. This is yarn that I bought. This was my first like not box store yarn. I got in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. There's a cute little yarn shop down there, and something like Autumn Fiber House, something like that. She's got a yarn store, and she has a farm with alpacas, and so these are her alpacas. And I bought a bunch of balls of these. It's like a strand of alpaca. Let me show you up close. A strand of alpaca held with a strand of cotton, like they're just sort of tied together. It's not very neat, but you know what? I don't care. They're comfy and they're cozy and they're warm. So I bought like 10 balls of this, and I made a cardigan. This first cardigan I ever made. Didn't know about gauge, wasn't sure about sizing, didn't know about yarn. Up looking really beautiful, but not fitting right. I ripped the whole thing out and saved the yarn for something that I knew I was going to wear, because it wasn't cheap, especially, you know, for me. I was thinking, this is my first good yarn. I'm not going to keep it in a project that it's never going to get worn, never see the light of day. So I made the same child a hat a couple of years ago out of the darker color of this, and so now they have a pair of flip top mitts to go with it. So I love these. I might have to make myself a pair. That I talked about it last week, just flipping. I made a pair of mittens for my niece who lives in Minnesota. She had grown out of the rainbow mitts that I made for her last year and requested another pair. So of course I had to accommodate. I am Auntie Vaughn, by the way, right? So I used loops and threads, acrylic, so they could get washed and dirty and not really make a difference, right? And I made her just a little pair of mitts using the Tin Can Knits World's Simplest Mitts pattern, and hopefully I'll put a picture up here of those mitts because they were sent off a while ago so that she could wear them. Mom says that she loves them, so that's awesome. I'm very happy about that. Let's see what else. I wanted to show you too. Where did they go on my pile of stuff here? Yes. So I think the last time we talked, I was working on a pair of vanilla socks. Now these have been worn, so they're not beautiful on blockers or anything like that. They're just socks. But for these, look, I love the way these colors sort of fade into one another, and I got them as close as possible in color. That usually doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all, really, but for these ones I just wanted to see how close I could get it. I love this gradient, and I have the ball band here in my notebook. It's watercolor sock. It looks like it's from Linus du Nord. Maybe the sock is called Calazion Aeria. Not sure. Apologize for butchering the language there. But that's the ball band. And they have a bunch of different shades of this kind of watercolor sock, right? This gradient sock. But what's really super, what I wanted to talk about these socks is that I decided to try 2 different heels because I obviously, don't know why, it's not obvious, but the first heel I learned was the heel flap and gusset, right? I don't know if I can show this well, but you know what a heel flap and gusset looks like, right? So I did the heel flap and gusset, and then the second kind of heel that I learned was from Earth Tone Girls. I watched her tutorial for the shadow wrap heel, and so I have a couple of socks that have a shadow wrap heel and a couple of socks that have, or pairs of socks that have the heel flap and gusset, and I couldn't really tell which ones I liked best. So you know what? I said, I'm going to do 1 pair of socks and have 1 heel, a different heel on each, so that I can compare them while I'm wearing the same pair of socks around all day long. And what I found is that I really like my heel snaps into place. Does that the heel flap and gusset, and the shadow wrap short heel maybe doesn't sort of hug my heel in the same way. It's not uncomfortable, just I guess my preference for fit is the heel flap and gusset. I will say though that my preference for creation is the shadow wrap short row heel, using the same method that Earth Tones girl uses. So I just thought that was really interesting, and it's good to know, right? That's what knitting is all about when you knit for yourself, figuring out what you like and what you don't, so you can make things that are perfect for you. Okay, so that was another recent finish. Also, I did this thing, and I didn't bring the book, but so I don't know if you guys know the Aeria sweater. The Aeria sweater, I didn't put the designer's name in my book here, but the Aeria sweater is beautiful. I used all Centrum yarn for it, and I got the all Centrum from the Woolly Thistle. It was a Christmas gift in 2022 from my kids, and there were 4 different skeins of this all Centrum and 4 different colors, and I wanted to use that, so I used that to make the Aeria shawl, and I call it my bipolar shawl because, you know, here we go. It has 2 colors on one side and 2 colors on the other, and I divided it in half. Now, this flap down here is not part of the original pattern. So I made the Aeria shawl, and it's beautiful. I love it. What I wanted it for was to hang so that when I take the dog out to go to the in the colder weather, I can just whip this, not have to bother with putting on a coat and yada yada. And it's warm and lovely, but it wasn't quite deep enough. So I decided, you know what, this is my shawl. I can make modifications. I can learn something. Didn't know what I was doing at all, but I got this color work pattern motif out of the book Knit Like a Latvian. This was on one of their hats or headbands or something. And so I just took it and I picked up stitches, and I added this bottom sort of patch here so that it would be long enough for me when I go outside. And I think I love the way this is so beautiful, these colors together, especially in this color work. Oh, I just love it with the yellow in the back and the green in the front. I think it's beautiful with the green in the back and the yellow in the front too, with these big leaves for the Aeria. But yeah, so I did I flipped what was the background and what was the foreground in the colors, and I didn't do both sides the same way because, as I said, I was sort of learning how to pick up. So this one I was trying to do shaping and I did an awful job, but you know what? That's okay. We're learning. That's good. But I think that's so pretty too. The motif with the black and the gray like that, I just think is so pretty. You know what I found was interesting? All Centrum is a woolly wool, and it's pretty rough to the touch. I don't think that I could wear a sweater that touched my skin in a lot of places for a very long time. But the Aeria is garter stitch, and then of course the color work that I did is stockinette stitch, and I feel like the stockinette stitch is so much softer than the garter stitch, and I was really surprised by that. Is that normal, you guys? Have you encountered that before? Like, do you know why that would be? I don't know, but I thought that was interesting, and she's perfect now. She's exactly the depth that I wanted, so she hangs by the back door, and she goes outside with me when I take the dog out just to go to the backyard to go to the bathroom. So there's that. I'm doing a lot of experiments lately, huh? Okay, finished object. Oh, the other finished object. It's not finished. No, lies. We are going to go into works in progress now. So the first work in progress that I want to talk to you about is the reason this channel started, and that is my 2024 mood blanket. So she's all caught up to February 20. Yes, February 22nd. She's all caught up. So the first two rows are January, and I just sort of was building it out. Started in the middle with these 4 squares, did them separately, and then grafted them together. And then I just worked sort of back and forth out from that square to get it about as long as I was thinking I wanted it to be. So there's no particular order to that. But then what I did is I went back to the start of one row of the next row. So this would actually be January 31st, and then I worked straight across. And then once I got to the end of that row, I came back to that start of the row, and I'm working straight across. And so that's sort of how I'm going to go for a while, and we'll see how that works. I can tell, but I'm very much so right, so I'm learning too about these mitered. I wasn't paying it. The miters were facing all over the place, but again, I am a writing coach in my real life, and so writing is very messy, and messy is just fine with me. I'll take it. I'd rather be messy than not do it, right? So there is my mood blanket. She's coming along nicely. I do notice that for the most part, she's very meditative. I like sort of reflecting on my day at the end of the day. I'm still keeping notes in my notebook, and so that I have that as sort of a record of kind of what was going on. And as you can see, because I'm using the yarn that I had, and I don't have tons of specific kind of yarn or color categories, and so I am also putting a little piece to sort of sit down and reflect on the day, and then knit the square. Each one is still taking me about a half an hour. I'm just a slow knitter, and that's okay too. It's not a race. I'm not in a hurry. I did notice that I tried to use some straight needles, which I haven't used from the beginning because I noticed that they sort of hurt my shoulders, but I didn't know if that was because I was new at the time or whatever, and I started with straight needles for January and the first part of February, but it was hurting my wrist, it was hurting my hand, it was hurting my shoulders, so I just went to circular needles, and I don't know what it is of the difference in how I hold them. Oh, you see Bella down there. She doesn't like it when I talk to the camera and ignore her. She starts making all kinds of noises, but yeah, so I went to circular needles, and it's much better for me. So, all right, so she's coming along, love her. Other works in progress. Oh, the other work in progress right now, I'm gonna zip open this bag. This is a Tika bag. I got her, can you see that? I don't know if that's, Yeah, I don't think you can see that. Tika bag. I really like that I can see into this bag. It's a perfect sock size bag. She did this, I think she did this quilting. I don't know anything about sewing. But I like this little design, and then of course the yarn on the front. Sometimes the yarn does get caught in the zipper and that kind of upsets me, but what you gonna do? So anyway, so I am working on the Rye Light socks for my husband. And I'm actually using it's a natural yarn. It's called Aisling yarns or Aisling yarns. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can see. And so she a yarn festival that I went to with my friend Jan a few months ago, and what she does is she has a mill in the UK that she gets her yarn from, and this yarn is 50% non-superwash blue face Leicester and 50% non-superwash Masham. And so I'd never worked with either of those breeds before, so I wanted to give it a try. And you know, surprisingly soft. I'm not sure if I could do a whole sweater in it yet, but I haven't tried either. So what I'm doing with these is I am making the Rye Light socks by Tin Can Knits. I'm sensing a theme. And so that's the one that has the pearl bumps down the front. I like their toe instructions, words. And so I'm making these for my husband actually, to keep his toes warm at work. And he does drive a semi and he does wear big old work boots. And I'm not sure how long or how well they're gonna hold up, but experimenting, we're gonna try. I know that I have heard people have said that if it doesn't have the nylon in it, like 100% wool socks are going to wear faster than not 100% wool socks, right? If it has nylon or polyamide or something. But you know, I'm not the kind of gal that just sort of takes people's word. I gotta go find that out for myself. Kind of obnoxious, but that's who I am. So these for my husband, and well, I am making these for my husband, and we're gonna try them out. We're gonna see how well they work to keep his feet warm while he's in and out of the truck, because he works, you know, he works late and it's cold and all that jazz. And we're gonna see how well they hold up. So I have one sock done, and you can see, actually, I'll tell on myself that I kind of messed up with the patterning because it's I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So that's okay. He doesn't care. I don't care. It's all good. So I have the cuff, and I have the very beginning of the leg started here. So on the second sock. So he may or may not get them before the cold is done for this season, but that's okay. He's patient and very knit worthy, so he can wear them next year, and we'll come is at that point. That is current projects, finished projects, working projects. But I wanted to also talk about something that I made a few months ago, actually. Well, let me see, I can tell you. I finished this in October 8th of 2023. And I used the Loopy Mango yarn in Dream Tweed in the color Flamingo. Here is an example, of the yarn. And this is what it looks like in the ball. We were at the New Jersey Wool Walk this year, which is, I think, in April. I'm sorry, last year, 23. Which I think is in April. And my kids saw this sweater on one of the mannequins in this color and fell in love, and so I had to make it for them. And I just had to do a minor alteration because it wasn't quite fitting the way we wanted. But so this was the yarn, and let's see. how can I show this to you in a way that makes sense? It is a little cropped, like a ballerina sweater, right? And I'm not going to be able to show it to you well, but it crosses over. It's got the two ties, you know, an I-cord tie on both sides, and it crosses over the front, and it's just this little crop sweater, and it's got these beautiful balloon sleeves. So cute. It looks so cute on them, and they love it. It is 100% wool, right? 82% merino, 13% wool, 5% viscose. I think it's super soft, but when they get warm, they try to wear it to work, and when they get super warm, it gets really itchy. So we got to figure out the best way for them to wear it, but it looks cute. They love it. What I just changed was, as you can see, there are the two ties, right? So this tie on one side was fine, being where it was in sort of this curve as the, I don't know what is this? The band comes down to the bottom, right? The one tie was there, and the other tie was in the same place on the other side. But what I noticed is when they were wearing it, it was tying funny, and so there is a hole on the one side for the yarn for the cord to come through, but it was like bunching up and wearing funny. And so what I did is I just took off the I-cord from here where it was, and I attached it lower, and they're much happier with the fit now. So but yeah, so this was finished in October of 2023, and it's so soft. I had never used Loopy Mango before, and really like that sweater, and they really like it as well. So that's all the projects. Are you ready to talk about some acquisitions that I got for my birthday? So I got this basket actually from the children's, which is so cute to keep my yarn stuffs in. You don't need to see those. Those are just socks. I mean, they're cute socks. Well, okay, I'll show you. Because I'm obsessed with gnomes. So they got me these bunny gnome socks for Easter. I love them. All right, and then they got me this bundle of Blue Sky Fibers. It's wool stock, 100% fine Highland wool. It's worsted. These are mini hanks, and there are, let's see, can I count them? 2. Does it say anywhere so I don't have to count them? 21. There's not 21 here. Hold on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Oh, maybe there are 21. Guys. Okay, so anyway, there are 21 mini hanks here. Each one is 5 grams, 12 yards, for a total of 252 yards. Ugh, look at these colors. Get this tag out of the way. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, so pretty. It would make a good color work hat or mitten set or something, wouldn't they? I love that. It's so pretty. And then they got me this yarn bee yarn, sock yarn. This is really pretty too. I love the tonal aspect of it, right? Let's see. This is called Stonework. It is 100% superwash merino wool. So pretty. And then they got me this cotton, big twist cotton, because I do make washcloths and such. And so I've always got a little project bag with a washcloth in my purse, so I end up without a project. Really pretty. Look at that. I love those colors. And then they got me, look at this cute little bag. I am obsessed with dandelions that have gone to seed. So that is what this reminded them of. So they got this for me. This is a little, let's see, it's a little snap top. It feels like, I don't know, for those of a certain age will remember the snap bracelets, right? That's what it feels like is in here. So cute, just this little bag, a little project bag, good for something. And then they got me some big darning needles for the bigger wools. Love it. So that's what I got for my birthday. And then, you know, I'm trying to keep track of my yarn, and I did do my yarn count. I tried to do a video of my husband and I sort of working through that, but as usual, storage issues, yada yada yada, didn't happen. But so after I did all that, I had 229 hanks of yarn. That does not include my scraps, my leftovers. It does not include my acrylic. It does not include the fiber that I have to learn to spin. But 229 skeins. And then after we did all that, that's before birthday too. After we did all that, I found stashed away on top of my yarn cabinet for some reason 3 more. So yay! So this is beautiful, isn't it? This is Malabrigo. It's called Light of Love. It's Malabrigo sock. It is 100% superwash merino. Oh, it's beautiful tonal. And then these are Malabrigo natural mohair 28% silk. So 29, 229, 230, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. What are we just going to call this one? 36. 37. I couldn't remember if I counted that or not. So yes, so I'm at 237 skeins, hanks, balls of yarn. And I want to get through half of that by the end of the year. Wish me luck, because obviously I've already had more come in than has gone out so far this year, 2024. So that's how it be though, right? That's how it be. All right, well, that's it for today. I have no issues uploading and getting this out to you. So otherwise, have a wonderful day. I'll catch you next time. Bye.